Good afternoon, class, and welcome to our class for this afternoon. This afternoon, we'll be doing our second database activity. And the program for today is I'll start off with the introduction and then explain what we'll be doing for this next two hours or 1 hour 55 minutes, 1 hour 40 minutes. And then I'll let you go into your groups. And I will give you 40 minutes for discussion time. And during that 40 minutes, make sure you update the database for this week. And then after updating, after the 40 minutes, we'll come back. We have a joint session where you present. We give you 5 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes to present. And then we'll conclude with Q&A from the class. And as mentioned, questions and answers should be directed to the presenters and the respective groups. So the activity for today. Today the activity is on bilateral relations and strategic prioritization. And in the activity, in your groups 1 to group 7, you've been assigned different bilateral partners. Group 1, your case this afternoon is PNG Australia. Group 2, PNG Indonesia. Group 3, PNG China. Group 4, PNG Japan. Group 5, PNG New Zealand. Group 6, PNG and the United States. And Group 7, you're looking at PNG Pacific Island countries. And it's up to you. You want to generally look at all the PIC countries or all the Pacific Island countries, or if you want to just select New Zealand, Solomon Islands, or Vanuatu, that's up to the group. But in general, I just have it as PNG Pacific Island countries. But for the others, we have a specific country assigned to the group. So you have to examine the bilateral relationship and use the foreign policy white paper. So you have to read pages 41 to 49, then go through the white paper and help you answer these different questions or fill in the database. So the first one, identify a country, the importance of the relationship, explain why the relationship matters to PNG, evidence from the white paper, use relevant statements or examples or information from the white paper, and include page references, so from which page you derive the information or extracted the information, you have to include that. And then security interest. Explain how the relationship contributes to PNG's defense, policing, border security, maritime security, or wider national security. The second area for analysis is economic interest. The contribution. Assess how the bilateral relations with that particular country contributes to our trade, investment, infrastructure, employment, job creation, market access, economic prosperity, etc. The other area for analysis is development cooperation. You have to look at the bilateral partner and then explain the contribution of that bilateral partner to areas such as education, health. For example, Australia has a new secondary education program that was shared. The information was shared in the news recently. So those working on Australia, that's an example there for development cooperation. People-to-people relations, examine historical, cultural, educational, sporting with the NRL for Australia, ping pong or table tennis for China, example. And then risk and constraints. Identify at least 2 consents, such as unequal benefits or dependency, geopolitical pressure, weak reciprocity. Okay, so identify two consents or constraints, and then priority classification. So according to your group, your assessment, your analysis, is this bilateral partner a core strategic partner or important functional partner or emerging or selective partner? So that you as a group will decide. And then the final area is based on policy recommendation. So you have to provide one practical recommendation explaining how PNG should manage, strengthen, and reconsider its relationship. All right. So for example, those working in China, give one practical recommendation how PNG should manage its relations with China. All right. So just appoint one group member to post all your content on the database. And presentation time is given. So you'll present and defend your analysis. So that'll be after the 40 minutes period. I'll give you 3 to 5 minutes each to present. All right. That's all. I'll stop here. Any questions, comments from the class? Do you all know what to do? Is the instruction clear? Do you want me to further elaborate on certain aspects or parts of the instruction that is not clear? Anton, go ahead. So it's connecting audio. Okay, so if it's clear, then I'll put you into your groups, and then you can go and discuss virtually on Zoom, and then physically if you're sitting in the same classroom or allocated classroom, then you can move and sit with your group members, and then I'll start the timer and give you 40 minutes to go through the pages of the foreign policy white paper, look at your country, and start doing your analysis. Oh, which, Grace, which link are you referring to? The meeting link or the activity, database activity link on Moodle?
Mr. The link on announcement.
The link to the Zoom meeting, you mean?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so that link is not working. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, Penwell and Gavin, yeah, they said it's not, they can't access it. I mean, they can't join.
They can't access.
Okay, Gavin just joined. Check Penwell.
No, the link I sent via email, that's the 1:30 to 3:30 meeting link. I don't think
Okay.
it's in the one on Moodle is for the the makeup one, which was tonight, but then we decided to, I mean, the class decided that we should have it on Sunday. So
Okay.
that link is not working because it will be tonight, later tonight, but I'll make the changes. But check your emails to see the meeting invite. And if you have, please share with your peers. Titus is also struggling to join, so. Okay, so if not, then no more questions, then I'll let you people go into your groups. Okay, I've created a 7 groups, so you people will join based on your groupings. So you're free to join by yourself. It's self-enrollment or into the group, so make sure you go into your group on. And I'll start the timer now. So you have 40 minutes to. Hey, thank you for joining us again. And I hope you had a fruitful discussion with your group members and you answered the question or filled in the analysis framework that I shared with you for bilateral relations, PNG's bilateral relations with other countries, based on our analysis of the foreign policy white paper. Okay, so now we will go into our presentations from the different groups based on what you have discussed with your group members. So we'll start off as per the announcement, the reverse order of 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So we'll start off with group 7. Group 7 this afternoon is represented by Penwell. Penwell, please go ahead with your presentation. And you have 5 minutes to present.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Yagua. Representing Group 7, we'll be discussing about the relations between Solomon Islands and Papua New Guinea,
You
particularly.
can start.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
All right. Thank you. So discussing about the relationship between PNG, Papua New Guinea, and Solomon Islands, particularly on the various areas that we will be I'll be stressing on cultural, education, the historical ties, trade, and business investment. Now, as highlighted in the Foreign Policy 2025, page 43 of it, PNG's relationship with Solomon Islands matters because it has significant investment and commercial interests. And also, Solomon Islands have resources of including palm oil, financial services, communications, hotels, and others. So both countries share maritime borders, and its security agencies collaborate in surveillance and monitoring to address security issues like transnational crimes, illegal fishing, and others. But there are several PNG companies operating in Solomon now, and it was quoted in the national newspaper data on the 11th August 2021 highlighted that PNG's investment in the SI is now worth about 2 billion. Now, currently, there are over 60 registered companies or business operating in Solomon Islands. And the major entities include the New Britain Palm Oil, as we have known, the BSP, Fletcher Morobe, Farmshed, Krama, Arsonico, B-Mobile. Solomon Island does not provide any form of health or education infrastructure and technical assistance as well. Now, both Solomon Island and PNG share common similarities in areas of education, and history, and culture. For instance, a good number of Solomon Island citizens are studying in PNG's tertiary institution. For example, we have in Divine World, we have Solomon Island students normally study here. While there is a weak reciprocity of dependency identified between this relationship between PNG and Solomon Island. Now, for instance, Solomon Island depend on PNG to provide such polishing and technical assistance, while the lack Solomon has is when in PNG polishing areas of infrastructure, institutional capacity, and so forth that we have. Now, the relationship between PNG and Solomon Islands can be classified as co-strategic partnership because it allows PNG to collaborate in an obligation associated with defense treaty. However, PNG needs to reconsider its relationship with Solomon Islands and focus only on areas that will enhance both countries, for instance, business investment, especially, and cultural trade, cultural ties, and investment trade. However, instead of focusing on education, scholarship provide and defense manpower. And yes, moving on. Since PNG has limited time, effort, and resources, according to Foreign Paper 2025, just we basically need to strategize to focus on important countries, especially both for PNG and Solomon, to merge opportunities. The recommendation for that is they must be supported by the Foreign Policy 2025 that allied that PNG enhance its bilateral partners, including those with future economic potential, will help drive our national economy and development agenda through trade, investment, and business engagement. Thank you. I think that's the end of our discussion on the relationship between Solomon Island and PNG.
All right, thank you very much, Benwell. Thank you for summing up what you've discussed and sharing with us the main points. And that's the order of business. We'll do that for the other 6 groups as well. So it's a skill that you have to note when you're presenting to. Okay, your time is up. So you finished before the buzzer. So you have to note that when you're presenting to your boss or your manager, your supervisor in a formal capacity, then they have time limitations. They want you to say something within 3 to 5 minutes and be short, sharp, straight to the point. So it's all part of the training. So that's good. Thank you. We'll move on to the next presenter because the bulk of the information will be in the database for all of us to go and read and take note on Moodle. So our next presenter, so the next group is group 6. Group 6, make sure you adhere to the time limitation given. The floor is yours. When you start talking, I'll start the timer. After group 6, we'll have group 5, Lorraine and Anselm. So please get ready. Group 6, please go ahead.
No, mira, just talking about as well. So, starting off with group 6, I'll be talking on question 1 or 2. The Papua New Guinea Foreign Policy White Paper 2025 identifies the United States as a key bilateral partner, underscoring its importance in security, trade, and development. Papua New Guinea and the US share strong ties rooted in history and values, reinforced by agreements such as the 2022 Defense Aid Agreement, 2023 Defense Cooperation Agreement, and the Ship Rider Agreement. These arrangements enhance PNG's defense capacity, maritime security, and border resilience, ensuring sovereignty in a complex regional environment. Economically, the US is recognized as a major partner, offering trade and investment opportunities that support PNG's diversification beyond resource dependency. So development cooperation, particularly in infrastructure and climate adaptation, is also highlighted through the white paper. Noted notes uncertainties in US policy directions. Despite this, PNG security and prosperity. Importantly, the US partnership complements PNG's broader friends to all, enemies to none approach, balancing the ties with Australia, China, and regional neighbors. Overall, the US relationship matters because it strengthens PNG's defense, expands economic opportunities, and enhances its global diplomatic standing, positioning the country as a proactive player in regional and international affairs. Thank you.
Apologies. I'll just use Anton's laptop since mine. All right, so for question 3, an evidence from the white paper. The paper identifies the United States as a key bilateral partner for Papua New Guinea, alongside Australia, Indonesia, China, Japan, and Europe. It states, and I quote, bilateral diplomacy will focus on key partners such as Australia, Indonesia, China, Japan, and Pacific Island neighbors, the US and European countries. This is taken from page 41 of the Foreign Policy White Paper. Furthermore, the document highlights the US as a security partner, which is also taken from page number 43. So this shows that Papua New Guinea views the US relationship as central to both traditional defense cooperation and emerging security challenges. Now to the security interests, the Papua New Guinea-US relations contribute to national and regional security in several ways. First being the defense cooperation, policing support, border security, maritime security, and wider security. So in a nutshell, the white paper makes clear that PNG's partnership with the United States is not symbolic, but strategic. It underpins defense readiness, policing capacity, border and maritime security, and resilience against non-traditional threats. So by aligning with the US, PNG strengthens its sovereignty and positions itself as a responsible regional leader in the Indo-Pacific. Over to Ken.
All right, since so the two we do not have, I'll stress on question number 5 and 6, but mostly on economic interests and development cooperation. Now, between PNG and USA, economic cooperation is one of the 4 pillars of the 2025 framework and is increasingly central to the relationship that two countries have. So a dedicated pillar on critical mineral and infrastructure cooperation positions PNG as a potential supplier of critical minerals to US supply chains.
Unfortunately, the time is up. So as per my announcement, you can share, you and Ms. Bank, you can share what you have during the Q&A session. So we'll move on to the next presenter, the next group. Thank you, Ken, and thank you, Group 6, Mata and Anton. Also, thank you, Penwell. So we move on to Group 5, Lorraine and Anselm. Once you start talking, I'll time you. And make sure people upload your information onto the database activity. So if you run out of time, I'll stop you, but you can continue when we open the Q&A session. So we'll come back to Ken. Will be the first one. Lorraine, Amsterdam, please go ahead.
All right, I'll be presenting our analysis and Anselm will present our justification. So the bilateral partner is New Zealand. Importance of the relationship. According to the Foreign Policy White Paper 2025, New Zealand is regarded as a trusted partner of Papua New Guinea, contributing significantly to development, economic cooperation, and security. It also plays a constructive role in regional affairs as a fellow member of the Pacific Islands Forum. Evidence from the white paper. The PNG Foreign Policy White Paper 2025 on pages 68 to 69 explains that New Zealand works with PNG in areas such as trade, education, governance, climate change, agriculture, and disaster response. This partnership helps PNG achieve its national development goals and strengthen its role in the Pacific. So the security interest, the PNG Foreign Policy White Paper 2025, also on pages 68 to 69, highlights that Papua New Guinea and New Zealand cooperate in key security areas, including defense, policing, maritime security, border management, and disaster response. So the economic interest, also on pages 68 to 69 of the Foreign Policy White Paper 2025, stresses on how New Zealand contributes to Papua New Guinea's economy through trade, investment, skills development, and market access. This supports key sectors such as agriculture by helping cocoa and coffee farmers improve production and access better markets, while also investing in education and workforce training to enhance employment and productivity. To the development cooperation, the PNG Foreign Policy White Paper, page 42 reads, "We value highly our relationship with New Zealand, a close friend, a significant development and economic partner, a close security partner, a constructive player in regional affairs, and a fellow member of the Pacific Islands Forum." People-to-people relations. PNG Foreign Policy White Paper 2025 states that relationship is underpinned by the renewed Statement of Partnership Agreement 2025 to 2029. People-to-people links have strengthened through the Recognized Seasonal Employer Scheme, RSE. Risks and constraints. Despite the good bilateral partnership between PNG and New Zealand, there are a few concerns that may affect the effectiveness and the end of the relationship. This includes development assistance dependency and weak reciprocity. To the priority and classification, the relationship between New Zealand and PNG is a core strategic relationship. New Zealand could be classified as one of PNG's core strategic partner as their relationship goes beyond the traditional buyer-seller relations. So the recommendation for strengthening PNG-New Zealand relations, Papua New Guinea should strengthen its relationship with New Zealand by focusing on greater mutual benefit and national ownership of development and cooperation.
So, based on everything we have covered on our presentation. The relationship between New Zealand should be maintained. This is because PNG builds stronger trade and investment partnership with New Zealand. New Zealand also supports support through training and technical assistance and capacity building for Papua New Guinea as a whole. So it also recognizes the seasonal employment scheme that Papua New Guineans apply for to work in New Zealand. So all of this that have stated reinstated the bilateral partnership in New Zealand as it serves a constructive growth for Papua New Guinea and its existence in the Pacific region, ensuring cooperation and mutual growth. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nakin, and thank you, Ms. Mack, as well. Just a reminder, upload or share your information on the database activity too, so your peers can access the database and see your analysis. Can we move on to the next group? Group number 4, represented by Titus. Titus, you have 5 minutes. Please start your presentation, representing group 4.
Hello, Mr. Can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Once again, good afternoon, Mr. and the class. On behalf of Group 4, I'll be presenting our analysis and justifications. So our bilateral partner is ZFN. So the importance of the relationship. ZFN is important to PNG for its economic, infrastructural development and security reasons. And also it serves as an alternative security partner apart from countries like Australia and China. So evidence from the white paper 2025. So Foreign Policy White Paper 2025, freedom of 45 identifies ZFN as PNG's long-term constructive partner since independence, and it also assists in areas of infrastructure, agriculture, and fisheries, health, education, and other sectors. So Japan is also seen as the third largest global economy in the wider region and a major economic partner for the PNG. The countries engaged through the Pacific Islands leaders meeting or farm process. To the security interest, Japan and PNG's security relationship is significant in strengthening the country's national security in areas such as maritime security, border protection, and disaster response. And to economic interest, Japan is also seen as important to PNG because it is one of the PNG's largest export destinations. So PNG used to export our natural resources to Japan. So it's one of our largest export destinations. Also, LNG exports, fisheries, and cash crop, agriculture, trade generate significant national income. So Japanese companies are major investors in our country. So these are some of the economic interests of PNG and Japan. Moving on to the development cooperation. So Japan has been one of PNG's most reliable development partners since independence. So its assistance in PNG includes infrastructural development, agriculture, fisheries, health, and education. So these projects improve public service, strengthen institutions, and contribute to sustainable
national development of Papua New Guinea. So people-to-people relations. So in the white paper, 2025, it highlights that PNG and Australia has a strong bilateral engagement at high political levels, regional cooperation through the Pacific Islands leaders meeting. Although the white paper does not specifically mention cultural changes, scholarship for labor mobility with Japan, ongoing diplomatic engagement through farm strengthens mutual understanding and cooperation between the two countries. Risk and constraint, and despite the strength of the relationship, several challenges exist. One is the dependence on development assistance. So, like, well, PNG continue to have a reliance on Japanese aid. That's dependence on development assistance. The other one is geopolitical competitions. Japan's growing strategic role in the Indo-Pacific may place PNG in difficult diplomatic situations as a competition between major powers such as China, the United States, and other major powers. And also the limited capacity, unequal distribution of benefits, and sustainability. So moving on to the priority classification. So Japan should be classified as a co-strategic partner because the relationship extends beyond development assistance to include security cooperations, economic investment, infrastructure development, education, governance, disaster resilience, and regional diplomacy. Last to the policy recommendation, Papua New Guinea should continue strengthening its strategic partnership with Japan while ensuring that cooperation delivers greater long-term benefits for Papua New Guinea.
Okay, Titus and Group
That's all,
4.
and thank you.
Thank you. The beaten by the buzzer. The time is up, but thank you very much for sharing your discussion with us. And we appreciate what you have shared. And I hope those of you attending, you are noting down the presentations by your peers. And then if you have questions or comments later, when we open the floor for Q&A, then you can ask. We move on to Group 3. Group 3, Chinua. Chinua, please go ahead.
And China. Now, China is considered as the largest trading partner and important supplier of PNG in terms of infrastructure investment and development aid. As evident from the White Paper 2025, page 44, China is highly valued as PNG bilateral partner through export markets and infrastructural investment. Now, moving on to security interest, most of the China's PNG relationship is to do with economic cooperation, trade, and development assistance, rather than formal military or security interest. But the only support to PNG security system is in the form of grants, infrastructure, and uniforms and training, as stated by Seng 2022 in 2007. Now, moving on to economic interest, according to the Department of Prime Minister and NEC 2023, trade between PNG and China has exceeded 13 billion kina, which show the importance of strengthening the bilateral relationship since China provide market needed for PNG's agriculture, forestry, fisheries, and oil and gas. Now, the development cooperation. An example of the development cooperation is the China's Belt and Road Initiative, so BRI. The Belt and Road Initiative demonstrated the importance of strategic partnership and development cooperation, with China making PNG a crucial player in BRI, receiving substantial investment in infrastructure, resource development, and social projects. Now, moving on to people-to-people relationship. As stated by Yagora 2025, by encouraging these Mandarin programs in PNG universities, like University of Goroka and the PNG UOT, China seeks to create a foundation for long-term people-to-people ties, potentially to provide favorable public perception and maintain economic relationship. Now, this can also be supported by the history, which we have history with China back in 1976, straight after independence, where the first agreement of diplomatic ties were established, and say Michael Sumare paid a visit to Mao Zedong's burial. Now, moving on to risk and constraint. We have identified three risk and constraint. The first one is economic dependency. The second one is unequal local benefits, and the third one is geopolitical pressure. Now, economic dependency means relying too much on China's loan can limit PNG's financial freedom and increase the risk of loan repayments. Major projects and large-scale resource extraction cause environmental pollution and transparency gaps, where most of the deals are often negotiated behind closed door, leaving out the locals. That is to do with unequal local benefits. And the geopolitical pressure is the relationship that can intensify strategic competition between traditional partners. Now, the priority classification we selected shows is core strategic partner, which China and PNG bilateral relationship is classified as a core strategic partner because of cultural exchange, trade relation, economic investment, diplomatic support, strategic position in the Pacific. Now, moving on to the policy recommendation, Papua New Guinea should strengthen and maintain its bilateral relationship with China, but transparency, accountability, and equal benefits of privilege should be acknowledged. All projects must establish strict reporting information, assignments, and statistics. Rather than relying more on China for loans and grants, PNG need to diversify its economic activities by venturing into sectors like agriculture, fisheries, tourism, and so forth. While being bilaterally engaged with China, PNG also need to maintain its relationship with its traditional partners such as New Zealand, Australia, Japan, and others. Overall, these approaches allows PNG to benefit from China and its other partners while protecting national interests and promoting sustainable development. Thank you.
All right, Chirwa, thank you. Okay, we move on to the next group. Fiona, group 2.
The bilateral partner is Indonesia. The importance of the relationship. Indonesia is one of PNG's most important bilateral partners because the two countries share a common land border, making cooperation essential for regional stability and national development. Indonesia is also a rapidly developing G20 economy and the largest member of ASEAN, which PNG aspires to be a member, creating opportunities for PNG to strengthen trade, investment, security cooperation, and regional engagement. Evidence from the white paper. The white paper 2025 in page 42 highlights PNG and Indonesia share a long land border, which requires close cooperation. Our relationship is based on 1986 Treaty of Mutual Respect, Cooperation, and Friendship. Both countries hold an annual joint ministerial commission meeting and leaders dialogue. There is a strong potential to expand economic and other ties. The relationship is strengthened by shared Melanesian culture, especially with the people of Indonesia, Eastern Province, particularly the West Province. And in 2024, 4 memorandum of understanding were concluded to strengthen cross-border cooperation. So yes, those are some of the evidence from the white paper. Moving on to security threats, the Indonesia relationship is important for PNG's national security because both countries share a long 820-kilometer international land border. So cooperation helps improve border security and management, defense cooperation, cross-border law enforcement and policing, cooperation against transnational crimes, and regional stability through the 1993 Basic Agreement on Border and the form MOU signed in 2024. So economic interest. Indonesia offers significant economic opportunities for PNG through increased cross-border trade, potential investment and business partnerships, access to one of Southeast Asia's largest markets, economic cooperation discussed through the Joint Ministerial Commission and Leaders Dialogue, as mentioned in the white paper, and future opportunities for infrastructure and commercial development along the border. Moving on to development cooperation, PNG and Indonesia cooperate in several development areas, including government-to-government cooperation through the Joint Ministerial Commission, technical cooperation and institutional collaboration, cross-border development initiatives, and cooperation that supports economic and social development in border communities. So although the white paper does not really provide detailed sector examples such as education or health in this section, it clearly states that development cooperation is one of the major areas of bilateral engagement. Moving on to people-to-people relations, we have shared Melanesian culture, particularly with West Papuans, family and traditional ties across the PNG-Indonesia border, long-standing historical interactions between border communities, and continued dialogue and cooperation that promote mutual understanding. To the risks and constraints, the two risks that we've identified is West Papua issue and border security challenge. And to the constraints, PNG, we have limited financial and institutional capacity and unequal economic capacity. To the priority classification, we classify Indonesia as a core strategic partner to PNG because the partnership extends across multiple strategic areas, not just one sector. So yes, it is best classified as a core strategic partner. Moving on to the recommendation, the one recommendation that we recommend is Papua New Guinea should establish a special PNG-Indonesia border economic development zone to transform the shared border from a security concern into an engine of economic growth and regional development. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Group 2, and thank you, Fiona. We move on to Tanya, the last group. Tanya representing Group 1.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. So my group and I were assigned to present on Australia. So PNG and Australia have a significant relationship due to historical and traditional ties that were linked to colonialism before independence. And that link has maintained and grown over time and even after independence till today, which is evident through the various support and signed agreements between the two nations, which remains as the basis that strengthens the relationship between PNG and Australia as close partners in security, trade, investment, economic, and development cooperation. Now, the evidence from the white paper is stated in the Foreign Policy White Paper 2025 on page 41, highlighted the Australian Comprehensive and Economic Partnership, CEP, and the Bilateral Security Agreement that provided a framework for closely related security relations, and also the Torres Strait Treaty for merging our border with Australia. These are just some of the agreements that are stated and also supports the importance of the existing relationship between PNG and Australia. Moving on to the security interests, the Papua New Guinea Australian Mutual Defence Treaty, also known as the Puk Treaty, is a treaty that recognizes the historical and close ties that Australia has with PNG between their defense organizations and their personnel. And this agreement is committed to mutual defense, mutually responding to times of crisis and threats. And it also goes to promote unity and support for peace, stability, and a prosperative region that is respectful to sovereignty. Moving on to economic interests, under the Australian Comprehensive and Economic Partnership, it reinforces the strong bonds between our two countries and strengthens our ambitious vision for the future. For example, we have the labor mobility recruitment program that is currently providing employment opportunities overseas for Papua New Guineans, especially in Australia. Moving to the development cooperation, we have the Australian aid. It has helped and supported in so many ways, either through cash or donations in terms of health, education, infrastructure, and technical assistance. And a primary example would be some of the infrastructures here at Divinewood University, especially the construction of the female dormitory. People-to-people relations, we have the National Rugby League, especially with PNG introducing its PNG Chiefs teams in the National Rugby League in Australia. We have the education scholarships such as Australian awards and other exchange programs between the two countries, and also Australian aid, which I've already mentioned above. To the risks and constraints, we've listed out of the two, we have listed dependencies. So PNG being too dependent on Australia since the colonial period, which is also still evident today in some areas of the country where we're working to develop. And also the second one is unequal benefits, referring to especially the natural resources. Australia has benefited a lot from the natural resources of PNG and in terms of gold, silver, and copper since the colonial period, and in the early 1970s to the 80s and 90s, in which some of the Australian mining giants were very present and is still evident, heavily involved today. Such as the Broken Hill Proprietary, Rio Tinto, and Santos. In some mines, such as the Panguna mine and the Octedi mine. Some of the Australian mining giants were very involved in the past and today as well. Moving on to the priority classification, we've classified this relationship under the core strategic partner, mainly because PNG has traditional ties with Australia, and secondly, due to geographical and regional security.
Okay,
Lastly,
Tanya and Group 1, your time is up, so thank you. Thank you for sharing with us your discussion and your analysis using the given framework. So that brings us to the end of the presentation session, and I now open the floor for comments, questions. We'll start off with Ken first, and then we'll go back to the list from our previous Q&A or activity session. So we open the floor now. Ken, we'll start with Ken, and then we'll invite the others.
Am I coming through?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, for question 5 and 6 on economic interest and sorry, development cooperation. So for PNG and USA, economic cooperation is one of the 4 pillars of the 2025 framework and is increasingly central to the relationship. So a dedicated pillar on critical mineral and infrastructure cooperation positions PNG as a potential supplier of critical minerals to US supply chains, opening avenues for investment and technology transfer. Also, a separate pillar on economic and commercial cooperation aims to grow two-way trade, which means investment and market access, and complementing PNG's broader push alongside, of course, Australia, Japan, China, and other countries as well, to reduce over-reliance on any single trading partner. And also digital economy cooperation pillar as potential to support PNG's telecommunications connectivity and digital infrastructure development, including under initiatives that complement domestic programs such as Connect PNG and all that. So I would say the US private investment interest, especially in resource and energy, building on the existing projects such as the PNG LNG projects, long years corporate involvement offers PNG channel for jobs, royalties, and infrastructure spillover. So, yeah. For development cooperation, I'd say development cooperation with the US is similar in scale than Australia's program, but still relevant to institutional capacity building. Well, historically, US development assistance to the Pacific, while modest compared with Australia's, has supported health, governance, and resilience programs. So PNG will need to monitor how the post-2025 reduction in broader US foreign aid affects the Pacific programming. So yeah, that's all from my end, and I'll leave it to Fiddlers to continue with question 7 and 8.
All right, thank you, Ken. Tasola. Okay, so we'll follow our list from the. Sorry, Ken, go ahead.
First, I'm done with my presentation. I'm waiting on Fiddlers, but I think it's not online. So is it online? If Fiddlers is online, they can continue.
Oh, okay. Right. Oh, yeah, he's part of your group. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, then Fidelis, go ahead.
So, yeah. So, okay, thank you. Moving on to question 7 and 8, I will be answering. So, questions are education, supporting the ties between the people of World War II history, active church group, and growing teamwork in schools, local communities, and healthcare. Some examples are such as the war history. A good example is here in Medellin, the aviation site, the physical remains of bomb aircraft are preserved in Medellin today. The church group, which is the SIL, the famous one, the American faith-based organization, which operates extensively across rural PNG provinces to translate text into local literacy program. And the school is the one with currently on the news last, I think yesterday news, the 30 people from the things from PNG going to about to scholarship from PNG to United States for schooling. So we want to question 8, risk and constant identify at least 2 concerns such as unequal benefits, dependency, geopolitical pressure, weak perspective, or implementation difficulties. So despite the rapid expansion of PNG and United States relation, the partnership faced structural strain. Local policymakers, civil society leaders, and analysts have raised critical concern regarding how these agreements affect PNG sovereignty and local population. The first good example will be the geopolitical pressure and a threat to friends to all. Compromise neutrality, PNG fundamental foreign policy is friends to all, enemies to none. Critics argue the 2023 Defense Cooperation Agreement forced between PNG to take a side in USA and China strategy primarily. The other one is the economic vulnerability. While US provides security, China remains one of PNG. So, yeah, this brings us to the answering of.
Then the United All right, following through the priority classification, the United States would be classified, we have classified as an important functional partner to Papua New Guinea. It's a defense balancer and security facilitator for our nation. Justifying this, underpinned by 2023 Defense Cooperation Agreement, DCA, the U.S. is a crucial security and maritime domain partner. Washington provides capacity building for PNG's maritime security, disaster relief, and law enforcement. However, because the U.S. does not engage directly with PNG's day-to-day domestic governance or civil service funding to the extent Australia does, it operates as a specialized functional balancer in Indo-Pacific. Now to our policy recommendation. Firstly, where does the U.S. stand with PNG today? Security is booming. In 2023, PNG signed the Defense Cooperation Agreement and the Shipwrighter Agreement with the U.S. This allows American Coast Guard and Navy ships to use PNG ports like Lombo, Memanus, Naza, and Port Moresby and help patrol PNG's oceans. Okay, secondly, under that, trade is lagging. Even though military ties are tight, actual trade between PNG and the US is very small, only about 100 million to 120 million a year. PNG sells basic farm goods like coffee, cocoa beans, and vanilla, office organics, while the US sells machinery and refined fuel. Almost all American investment in big gas projects like ExxonMobil, not investment is in big gas projects like ExxonMobil, not in local businesses or farming. Okay, secondly, what are PNG's four main weaknesses and loopholes? Let's look at the shipwrighter maintenance gap. The problem is right now PNG officers ride on American Coast Guard vessels to catch illegal foreign fishing boats. But when the American ships sail away, PNG's Navy boats stay stuck at the dock because PNG lacks fuel and spare parts. Okay, let's look at the security given away without great gains. The problem here is PNG gave the US military access to 6 major defense sites across the country, but PNG leaders forgot to ask for tax-free market entry for PNG coffee, cocoa, and farm goods in return. Okay, let's look at foreign exchange, the dollar shortages. The problem here is American businesses find it hard to operate in PNG because PNG has a shortage of US dollars. This is like the FX bottlenecks, making it hard to convert kina back to dollars. Well, easily. Okay, let's look at what's caused the public confusion and the trust issues. The problem here is many local citizens worry that defense deals compromise PNG's independence or make PNG a target in a war between big global powers. So the practical solutions for how PNG can use this are first regulations, trade for access, or we could say equity for access. The simple idea is let's not give military action both ways. Let's make Washington open US markets to PNG farmers in exchange for military access. How do we do this? Ask the US to remove the import taxes, the tariffs on PNG processed coffee, cocoa, and spices. Get the US government to guarantee American investments in PNG factories, green energy, and agriculture. Ask for US central bank assistance to help PNG fix PNG's foreign exchange, the US dollar shortages. Okay, our second recommendation, a dedicated maritime patrol fund. The simple idea is make the US pay for the PNG Navy's fuel, boat maintenance, and surveillance equipment so PNG can patrol its own oceans 24/7. How do we do this? We suggest we secure a fixed yearly budget directly from US military funding reserved exclusively for PNG Navy fuel and boat repairs. Put modern radar and drone technology at the National Maritime Coordination Center in Port Moresby, and station US Coast Guard mechanics at PNG naval bases to train local PNG technicians. Thank you, and this is the end of Group 6's presentation on the bilateral relationship between Papua New Guinea and the United States.
All right, thank you, Mata and Fidelis and Ken, for sharing with us your discussion. So we open the floor for the others. We follow the previous list. So there's some structure in what we're doing. So we'll go back to Theophilus. Theophilus, if you have any questions or comments about this activity today or the one that we previously did on domestic policy.
Yeah, Mr. For the previous list, the questions that I have for Mr. for not to any one of us, but for this lesson that we
No,
just
I'm
did.
referring to the activity that we did, the first one on domestic policy. Doesn't feature Mr. Ako, it's only us, you people and myself. That's the list that I'm following now. So I'm going back to that. That's not the list from the lectures. Your questions and comments should be directed to the groups.
Okay, thank you, Mr. I
But
think
if you have any, go ahead. If you have any general comment.
our group, I think we received 3 questions, but we didn't answer this question. So I think maybe this is the time that we will answer those questions. So the first question.
Last time you may press out.
Question that I think can ask our group is from your presentation. You mentioned that one of the biggest implementation barrier is the lack of effective coordination among government agencies. In your opinion, what specific strategies would the government introduce to improve coordination between these agencies? So there are several strategies. The number one strategy is to establish a central coordination body that create or strengthen a central body such as the Department of Prime Minister and NEC or the Department of Foreign Affairs to oversee the policy implementation, coordinate agency activities, and resolve conflict. And the second is develop a clear national strategy. So that is to adopt a formal foreign policy or national implementation strategy that clearly defines government priorities, agency responsibilities, and expected outcome. And another one is all regular inter-agency meeting. This is to do with scheduled routine meetings where ministries and departments can share information, discuss progress, identify challenges, and coordinate joint actions. So, Mr. We have four questions. We divided it. The first question that I answer, and the second question Joseph will answer.
Okay, Mr. The second question that was asked to our group was, you discussed the challenges of illegal fishing, transnational crime, and limited border surveillance. How do you think PNG can strengthen its border security while still maintaining good diplomatic relationships with its neighboring countries? So we believe PNG can strengthen its border security by combining stronger domestic capacity with closer regional cooperation. Domestically, the government needs to invest more in border surveillance technology, increase sea and air patrols, and provide better training and resources for agencies such as the Defense Force, police, customs, and immigration. Yeah, that's the answer for the second question.
Okay, thank you, group one. Anybody else from group one? No kata.
Mr.
Oh, Ezekiel. Okay, Ezekiel.
Yes, I'll be answering the other two questions asked by Tia and Cosmos. So, Tia's question is, in what ways, how can proper planning and effective coordination among government agencies help reduce law and order issues and domestic corruption in PNG? So, to answer this question, to reduce law and order issues and domestic corruption, the improve the policy planning is needed. Proper planning enables the government to identify the root causes of crime and corruption, like such as unemployment, poverty, and weak governance, and set a clear national priority for crime prevention and anti-corruption. And also, the better coordination between the police force, correctional services, immigration, customs, uh, the Ombudsman Commission, and ICAC and provincial administrations can improve the sharing of information, that ensuring a faster response to criminal activities and strengthening joint investigation into corruption and organized crimes. So answering Cosmas's question, in terms of border security, how will PNG strengthen its national security and border security with its partners and also achieve its economic prosperity? So PNG can strengthen its national security, border security, and economic prosperity at once by adopting an integrated approach that combines security cooperation, economic development, and diplomacy. And this is what the country is working towards achieving, strengthening border security through international partnerships, balancing security with trade, enhancing regional cooperation, and strengthening domestic institutions. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ezekiel and group one. We'll go back to our list. Cosmos.
Mr. I think I already reached the comment and questions, so I'll give a time to panel to ask comment and questions.
Yeah, for comments, you've reached the maximum, but for questions,
Yeah.
no, that according to my tally.
Yeah, I have a comment, but I already reached the maximum, so I give a time to.
Okay, yeah. All right, based on your current discussion, maybe you reached the maximum. So, okay, that's good, kind and wise of you to do that. So we'll follow the list. Next is Marshall.
Good afternoon, Mr. So for me, I guess I have already asked two questions regarding that unit there. I mean, the topic. Last discussion, I have asked two questions to group 4. Excuse me, Mr. Can
So
you?
you asked already, yeah?
Yeah, I did ask already two questions. So in my place here, Rosemary will answer the questions directed to us by other groups.
Okay, wait, then we have to, your name has to be on the,
Okay, if so, I can ask those two questions again, no?
let me see. Okay, we will put Rosemary after Antonia, so let's just follow the list, and because I want to get rid of not get rid of the list, but just go through the list and we cross the names out. So if we can do that, then we can put Rosemary at the end after Antonia. Yeah, so we
Okay.
move on to the next person on the list, which is Fidelis. So I'll put Rosemary after Antonia.
Okay, Mr. My question is going to, my question is for the group 7. Why do you guys think PNG relationship with Solomon Island is classified as co-strategic partnership? Thank you.
All right, thank you, Fidelis, and you've reached your maximum number of questions. Group 7, please take note and then take note of the question, and then we can come back again to another session if we don't have time now. Okay, Chinua.
Mr. I don't think I have any question today, but I'll give space for someone to ask.
All right, thank you, Chinua. Ezekiel, since you're on the list. Yes, no. Rogata. Then we move on to David. Let me see. I lost my list. Ron Mac. Is Ron Mac in the meeting room or no? Nogat. Okay, Gavin.
Okay, I'll be answering Usma's question. He asked what is the perspective about the PNG NRL chiefs? Is it social or economic? Is it a social deal or an economic deal? I think I've asked a similar question to Mr. Ako about the PNG NRL chiefs initiative. So I think it focuses on international relation or the foreign policy to to unify our historical relation with the Australian. So it also serves as a diplomatic initiative to strengthen our bilateral relationship with the Australian, and also to increase our regional engagement and reinforcing Australian partnership with PNG through sports. That's all.
Thank you, through Gavin. Titus.
Mr. Thank you. I just have a one question for today's session. So the question is directed to Group 7. So I just want to leave the previous questions and comments because Mr. Lawyako is not like here. So when is yeah, okay, I'll ask the questions and make a comment. So that's what I was thinking. So what do you think, Mr.? Sorry, Mr. Can you hear me?
Hey, okay. I thought I explained a bit earlier on about the difference between this session, the database session, and the lectures by Mr. Ako. So when Mr. Ako is we're having our session with him, you can direct your questions to him. But for this database, it's based on the first one. We're continuing on from the first database activity that we did that was on domestic policy, and now we're doing on the bilateral one. And this is because in previous years, Mr. Ako was not engaged as a consultant, APEC consultant. So he was able to attend the Friday session and many of the sessions. But now, because he's doing this APEC work this year, he's traveling a lot. That's why we're moving classes, and we're not able to stage the schedule Q&A sessions and the lectures, the time law lecture as per the timetable. And Muslim, so alternatively, I came up with this arrangement where time no come lem, we got install database activity. So we did the first one with the domestic policy, na this one, and second one, bilateral relations. So we don't waste the time. We have a session where people can ask questions and make comments. And then whenever he has time, like Sunday evening and or free time, then he will have him on makeup session. And then that's when he's attending and I'm present, people can ask a question related or lecture or discussion on them. Is that clear now or?
Yeah. So I just have a question on a question directed to Group 7 regarding today's presentation. I mean today's session, database session. So can I ask the question? I mean,
Yeah, please.
For the Group 7, they like Manuel said that several companies companies in several PNG companies work in the Solomon Islands. So like my question is, what are some of the companies that operating in Solomon Islands, since you guys analysis and justification is related on this bilateral partner, which is the Solomon Islands. So yeah, that's my question. Thank you.
All right, thank you. To Group 7, Group 7, please note the question from Titus, and we're running out of time, so you can answer in the next session that we will have. So like I said earlier on, if you see it's database activity 3, then whatever the list that we have for this afternoon will continue on for that. But for Mr. Ako's session, I have a different list that from the previous, on Tuesday, the previous Zoom session we had with Mr. Ako, that list is separate. So when we meet again on Sunday, let me copy paste Mr. list again, let me continue Mr. list. So I have two sets of lists. For me, open clear. So for example, now question Titus ask him, now if we run out of time, then when we do database activity 3, then we'll continue on with that, and then group 7, you can answer his question. So make sure you take note of that question. And Marcel, check your tally. That's from the previous block, and the marks were given on model already. So you must have your individual tallies to cross-check as well. I'm only human, and I'm not God. I might make mistakes. So it's best to keep your own tally, so you make sure that what is given is accurate and the tally is accurate as well. Francis, 3 minutes remaining.
Thank you, Mr. Yukira. So my comment is based on Cosmos's question on the previous lecture, which Cosmos asked about whether PNG is working with other countries to keep peace or just promote economic growth. So I'll answer this question based on my point of view. If my group mates have something to add on, they can also add on. So to answer Cosmos's question, I think for Papua New Guinea, keeping peace and promoting economic growth are all put together into one package. So why am I saying this? It's because PNG foreign policy approach is based on friends to all and enemies to none. That is why PNG have relationship with. You'll see that we have relationship with multiple countries like Australia, US, and also China at the same time. So PNG doesn't stick to only one partner. And secondly, I think PNG uses peace and security partnership as a way to also unlock economic opportunities. For example, the Pukpuk Treaty, with it also concentrates on security, and also it has economic opportunities for Papua New Guinea. Thank you.
Oh, is Anthony in the meeting room or? Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, Anthony, when you're ready, please go ahead. After Anthony, we'll have Rosemary and the evolution. Okay, go ahead. And Tanika will conclude, or Tanika wants to move it to the next session. Okay, Anthony is having issues, sorry. We'll come back to you. Rosemary. No worries.
Good
Rosemary, go ahead.
afternoon, Mr. Yeager and class. So I will be answering the two questions which was asked from the last group presentation. So the first question was, is BRI part of the Connect PNG initiative? So yes, the Belt and Road Initiative is part of the Connect PNG initiative. The Connect PNG initiative is aimed at improving Papua New Guinea's infrastructure and connectivity. Hence, the aim aligns with the goals of the BRI, which focuses on enhancing global trade and investment through better infrastructure. So the PNG government is trying to address the infrastructure development challenge domestically. So they initiated the Connect PNG program. So in order to execute the program, they need expertise and contractors. Hence, they create a partnership with China through China's BRI. And that's how Connect PNG is related or connected to China's BRI. So the second question was asked by Francis. He asked, how can PNG overcome the dual challenge of inadequate road maintenance funding and weak political support for road management reforms, given that poor road conditions are isolating communities and limiting access to markets, health, and education services? So to answer this question, basically priorities. The government must prioritize a need. Yes, given the challenges of weak governance and support, that doesn't mean the whole government neglects road infrastructure. If we were to make comparisons at the provincial level, road infrastructure varies across provinces. Some remain a priority under the government administration, while others face challenges due to political support. That's all from me, and thank you.
We'll listen to Theophilus and Tanika. If you want to ask now, can. While we give time and wait for Antonia to sort out the issue. So we'll finish the three of you and then can end the session.
Okay, thank you, Mr. My question is directed to group number 2. They presented on PNG relationship with Indonesia. So the representative said that PNG should have a strong partnership with Indonesia. Looking at the current trend between the Papuan or West Papuan local against Indonesian forces, if we or if Papua New Guinea enter into a relationship with Indonesia, are they going to be the enemy, or are we going to be the enemy of the West Papuan too, or not?
Yeah, thank you, Theo. One black question, Chola. Okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Tanika. Oh, Tanika left already.
No, Mr. I'm here. I'm ready to
Oh,
respond.
okay.
Thank you. All right, so Marshall had directed 2 questions to my group. The first being, he asked about, in our opinion, what do we think is the best or possible international framework that would best suit the PNG education system? I believe we covered that when we proposed the strategic plan, but I'll just elaborate again. So the best international framework for PNG's education system, perhaps we could use maybe a hybrid model based on the sustainability goal number 4 being quality education. And this could be delivered through a localized competency-based education approach and aligned with Pacific regional standards. So SDG4 is ideal because it provides global goals without forcing PNG to copy another country's curriculum. Like it emphasizes access, equity, literacy, numeracy, technical and vocational skills, and education for sustainable development. And those are all critical areas for PNG's diverse context. However, this is to work in PNG, it must be delivered through a competency-based education that shifts the focus from rote learning to practical skills and outcomes. Okay, his second question following my group's presentation was, how will this international framework integrate all the aid and scholarships aided by PNG's various strategic partners? Basically, this framework can integrate all those aid and scholarships from PNG strategic partners mainly by making the National Education Plan and the SDG 4 targets the single point of alignment for all the donors. So at present, support from partners like Australia and Australia Awards or New Zealand's Menaki scholarships and the World Bank or whatever, they often run in parallel and they can be sort of incomplete or fragmented. But under the SDG4 and the CBE framework, every donor project would have to fit within the gaps identified in PNG's National Education Plan. For example, if the plan prioritizes TVET and STEM and training more teachers for rural schools, then scholarship aid can be more directed to those areas instead of being scattered. So integration would happen through a shared education management information system where all the partners, they report on the same indicators like the literacy rates and completion in teacher competency. Thank you.
All right, Tanika, thank you for your comment. Next person on the list is Antonia, but Antonia, if you still have issues, then we move on to Tanya. Okay, Tanya, and then Mata, and then we'll come back to you.
All right. So I have two questions. The first question is to group number 7. So the presenter mentioned something about weak reciprocity in regards to the bilateral partner Solomon Islands. So my question is that in regards to the weak reciprocity in the sectors that they mentioned, how can the PNG government work together with the Solomon Islands to improve that? And my second question is to group number 3, which was presented by Chinua. How can PNG deal with local unequal benefits, especially with diplomatic relations and their impact on communities to do with especially backdoor deals? How can the PNG government work on it and also help the local communities, especially those ones affected, so that they may have equal benefits as well? Thank you. And these are my two questions to group 7 and group number 3.
Thank you, Group 7. Thank you, Tanya. Group 7 and Group 3 note the questions, and you can answer it in the next session. Mata.
Thank you. Can you hear me, Mr.?
Yes, loud.
All right. Answering Cosmos's question from the previous session, he asked, apart from choosing through bilateral and multilateral partners, can PNG work with international organizations like NGOs to help PNG get better resources from health, education, and law and order sectors? Our response is yes. PNG can directly collaborate with NGOs, civil society organizations, and philanthropic entities alongside bilateral and multilateral channels. In fact, international and local NGOs are crucial partners in PNG's development strategy, particularly in delivering frontline services in remote areas where government presence is limited. So that's our response. And I just have one question to group number 2. is just for them to elaborate on their recommendation. Due to time, they did not elaborate on that, so I'm just requesting that they elaborate on their recommendation. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mata. There's a technical issue with the database, so I'll sit down again and then try to check the settings, and then once I fix the settings, I'll let you people know. So when that happens, then they can upload the information or analysis there, and then all of us can read. So, or otherwise, in the next session, they can verbally respond to your questions. So either way, that's fine, so long as we are sharing knowledge and information with each other. Antonia, we come back to you again. If you're sitting next to someone, then maybe can use their computer to, I mean, someone who's in the meeting room now. That's an alternative solution to your problem. Alternative or a solution to your problem. Suppose it's not close to the room who's in the meeting room. Tanikao. Elizabeth, Grace, Hezekiah, Chinua, Francis, Gavin, Mata, Gregory. Okay. All right. Thank you. Anthony, I said next session, so. Chino, I want to say something. Go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Just asking if the session on Sunday will be our last session for Block 2.
No, if you look at my announcement, we have 3 Block 2 sessions that are pending, but you people will need to decide on timing because Mr. Ako was traveling, we missed. And then one was caused by technical issue and we didn't want him. But if you look at my announcement, let's see, the one made on August the 4th. You'll see we have 3 outstanding sessions. Topic 2, Topic 3, and Topic 4. That's French to all, strong bilateral, and PNG Australia relations. So, Mr. Ako said it's flexible and it depends on the people. So the first one, Q&A 2 will be this Sunday, and maybe Q&A 3 Tuesday afternoon. I don't know. You people decide, and then you let me know. Let us know. So that will be for Block 2. But for next week's class, starting week 7, we'll move on to Block 3. But you people must also keep your tally, so you cross-check with mine, and then so as me go extra na gibla gaman gibla mark nothing okay tok na mi kan rawsun tu. I'm alright. Alright. But yeah, the 3 Q&A and Q&A 2, 3 na 4 and block 2 here. So we still have 3 sessions outstanding. So one block this Sunday and the other 2 people decide. Next week is the only week that we will be free, and then following week we have the festival coming up, so all of us will be busy running back and forth. So you plug confirm now. Let me know.